Okay, so hopefully you remember how to do rewrite these in exponential form. So this would be 4 to the x equals 16. So what would x be? 2. Right? 4 to the second power is 16. This is y to the third equals 27. Remember, it's the base, log base y, so it's the base to the answer over here equals the number, right? So y to the third equals 27. What would y be? Y to the third, 3 to the third is 27. Okay, this would be 2 to the x equals 1/8. What would x be? -3, right? When you get a fraction, that log is going to be a negative. And 7 to the x equals 1/343. What's x equal? -3. All right. Any questions on that? All right. And what does the word expand mean, just in general, like in English language? To make bigger, right? To make bigger. And what does condense mean? To make smaller, right? So when we're going to be using those words with logs and these properties, and you're going to expand some expressions by making them longer, and then condensing is going to make them smaller. Okay. Okay, so here are the properties in a box. That box will make more sense once we do some problems. So I'm just going to skip right down to the problems, all right? When you have a log, like let's look at the example right here. Log, this says log base 2 of 32. You can expand that by making the 32 a multiplication, because log base 2 of 32 could be written as log base 2 of 4 times 8, right? Because 4 times 8 is 32. And when you have a multiplication, then we have this first property that says, this says log base b of m times n, so two things being multiplied together. You can expand that into the log of one of them plus the log of the other one. Okay? Now, this is helpful sometimes because when you do that, like the log base 2 of 4 is just 2, right? So then it simplifies into some smaller numbers sometimes, right? So you can't, well, okay, we'll get back to that. So here's the example. When you come down here, we're going to expand log base 4 of 30y, right? So now it's a variable. Think of it as 30 times y. When we expand it, we're going to do log base 4 of 30 plus log base 4 of y. So you keep the same base. And you just make the multiplication into an addition of 2 logs. Now, this is helpful with solving for variables, right? Because here, now I can make the log base 4 of 30. That could become a whole number. And then we just have the variable left there. Okay, so try to expand this second one here, b. Okay, so this should be log base 4 of 5 plus log base 4 of x. Okay, easy, right? All right. So the next property is called the quotient property. So when you have the log of a division or a fraction, then it becomes a subtraction, problem. All right, so log base 2 of 16 over 4 becomes log base 2 of 16 minus log base 2 of 4. Minus. It's a subtraction. Anything that's on the bottom of a fraction is going to have a subtraction sign in front of the log. So this can become log base 3 of 9 minus log base 3 of 2. So the directions here just say expand, so we expand it. If we wanted to simplify this, what is the log base 3 of 9? 2. So if we were going to simplify it, we could write 2 minus log base 3 of 2, right? And then we could get that. Okay, try B. These do get more complicated. So far, these are the basics. So here you should have log base 3 of 5 minus log base 3 of x, right? All right, here's the one. The power property is actually probably the most useful. And it says if you have log base b of m to the n, that exponent there can come out in front of the log and be multiplied by the log. So log base 5 of 4 to the second power becomes, becomes 2 times, so this exponent comes out front, becomes 2 times the log base 5 of 4. Okay. Here, take this. All right, so try the B there. And that should be 2 log 5 of x. If you look at these now, there's more than one property that's going to be applied to the one problem. So this is a multiplication and it has an exponent, right? So this, sometimes it takes a couple of steps, but you're going to bring the exponent out front. Now, who does that exponent belong to? Just x, right? So you really have to separate this multiplication first. So you're going to do log base 3 of 3 plus log base 3 of x squared first, right? Got to separate the multiplication because that 2 doesn't belong with the 3. It only belongs with the x because there's no parentheses there, right? So you have to separate that first and then bring the exponent 2 just in front of the x. That makes sense? All right. So again, with the b here, we have a division, so we're going to have a subtraction of logs. So log, and there's no base here. What does that mean? It is a base of 10, but we don't have to write it. Log of x squared minus log of 4. So remember, anything that's in the denominator of a fraction with logs is going to have a subtraction sign in front of it. So just the 4 is down below, so that is going to be the one that's getting subtracted. All right. Now we can keep going. The 2 only belongs to the x again, so 2 log x minus log 4 would be our, 4, be our final answer there. Okay, look at C. A lot going on here. First step, log x to the third minus log 5y. But the 5y is a multiplication. So we have to turn that into an addition of log 5 plus log y. And then this 3 comes out front. 3 log base 6 of x minus that thing, right? That thing, that addition is simplifying the log base 6 5y. But then we have to distribute that negative sign. So this becomes 3 log base 6 of x minus log base 6 of 5 minus log base 6 of y. So this is our final answer. So, you know, you do start getting used to how this works, and maybe you can skip that step with the parentheses in it, because like I said, anything that's in the bottom of the fraction is going to have a subtraction sign in front of it. So if you just remember, if it's 5y on the bottom, it's minus log 5 minus log y, because the 5 and the y are both in the denominator. All right, so you guys try D and E. See how you do.